Life often throws us curveballs, and how we respond makes all the difference. What if you could approach every challenge with inner peace and unshakable strength? The ancient Stoics had a powerful way of navigating life's uncertainties. Here are the 6 Stoic principles that offer powerful wisdom to help you navigate life with resilience and calm. These timeless teachings have the potential to transform your mindset and help you find peace no matter what life brings. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. These are the words of Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor who ruled the most powerful empire in the world. Yet somehow, he knew that the most powerful kingdom to rule is the mind. Today, we're going to reflect on one of the most life-changing Stoic principles, the dichotomy of control. This single idea can shift the way you see the world, reduce your stress, and bring you inner peace. It's not about controlling everything. It's about knowing what to let go of. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll see the world a little differently. And maybe you'll see yourself a little differently too. The big idea. What is the dichotomy of control? At its heart, the dichotomy of control is simple but powerful. It says that there are only 2 kinds of things in life. Number 1, things you can control. Number 2, things you cannot control. That's it. That's the whole concept. But let's be honest. If it's that simple, why do so many of us struggle to find peace? Why do we worry, stress, and obsess over things we have no control over? It's because we forget this principle when it matters most. We think we can control how other people feel about us. We think we can control the future. We think we can control the past. But the truth is, we can't. What we can control, however, is our response. We can control our actions, our attitude, and how much mental energy we give to things that don't serve us. Epictetus said it best. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This one idea is a superpower. If you can master it, you'll feel lighter, more in control, and less shaken by the storms of life. The things you can control. So, what exactly can you control? Here's a list. Your thoughts, how you interpret what happens. Your actions, how you respond, what you do next. Your effort, the energy you put into your work, your goals, and your dreams. Your attitude, the way you approach challenges, failures, and even success. Notice something. All of these things exist within you. They're not out there in the world. They're in your mind, your heart, and your hands. Let me ask you this. How many times have you tried to control things outside of yourself? Maybe you've tried to change someone's mind, or you're worried about what people think of you. Maybe you spent hours replaying a moment from your past, wishing you'd done it differently. But where did all that mental energy go? Did it change the past? Did it change the person? No, it just made you tired, anxious, and frustrated. Here's the truth. You don't need to control people, events, or outcomes. You only need to control how you meet them. So, the next time you're in traffic and someone cuts you off, pause. Ask yourself, can I control this driver? No, but you can control your breath. You can control your reaction. You can control whether you let it ruin your whole day or let it go in 5 seconds. That's self-love, not letting outside chaos control your inner peace. The things you cannot control. Now, let's talk about the things you cannot control. And this is where most of our suffering comes from. Here's the truth no one likes to hear. You cannot control what people think of you. You cannot control the past. It's gone. You cannot control the future. It hasn't happened yet. You cannot control nature, accidents, or the unexpected. Think about the last time you felt anxious or upset. Were you focused on something you could control, or something you couldn't? The past, gone. What people think, not your business. The future, unwritten. Here's a way to think about it. Imagine you're in a boat on the ocean. The waves are crashing, the storm is rolling in, and the wind is wild. Can you control the waves? No. Can you control the storm? No. But you can control the way you steer the boat. Your thoughts are the steering wheel. Your actions are the oars. Your attitude, that's your compass. The storm will rage no matter what, but your ship will stay steady if you master the wheel. How to apply the dichotomy of control. Okay, so you get the idea. But how do you actually apply this in real life? Here are 3 practices you can start today. The 2-column list. Take out a piece of paper. Draw a line down the middle. On one side, write things I can control, and on the other, things I can't control. List everything that's stressing you out. Ask yourself honestly, can I control this? If the answer is no, let it go. Focus on the side you can control. The 5-second pause. When something happens, someone says something rude, or a plan falls apart, pause for 5 seconds. Ask, can I control this? If the answer is no, breathe. Release it. Return to your focus. Daily affirmation. Every morning, repeat this to yourself. I control my mind, my actions, and my attitude. Nothing else. The Stoics knew something about peace that we're only starting to understand. True peace comes when you stop chasing control of the uncontrollable. Next time you're feeling anxious, frustrated, or overwhelmed, remember this one question: can I control this? If the answer is no, release it. Let it go. If the answer is yes, take action. That's it. That's the dichotomy of control. Simple, powerful, life-changing. Thank you for spending time here with me today. If this resonated with you, take a moment to like this video, share it with a friend, and subscribe to the channel. Every week, we bring you timeless wisdom for self-love, self-healing, and inner peace. Until next time, remember, you are stronger than you think, wiser than you know, and more loved than you realize. Subscribe for more Stoic wisdom and self-love content. Turn on notifications so you don't miss future videos. Leave a comment below with your thoughts on this Stoic principle. Which part of the dichotomy of control speaks to you most? See you next time. Peace, love, and wisdom always.
Love your fate, which is in fact your life. Friedrich Nietzsche. There's a powerful and transformative idea that the Stoics believed in, Amor Fati, which translates to love of fate. At first glance, this might sound counterintuitive, right? How could we possibly love all of life's challenges, hardships, and difficulties? After all, we all go through tough times, and often, the last thing on our minds is loving those moments. But what if I told you that embracing everything that comes your way, the good and the bad, could lead to true freedom and inner peace? Today, we're diving deep into the powerful Stoic concept of Amor Fati, and how this simple shift in mindset can transform your life. What is Amor Fati? Amor Fati is Latin for love of fate or love of one's fate. This concept goes beyond simply accepting what happens to you. It means embracing and loving whatever life throws your way. Imagine facing adversity or pain and not only accepting it, but actually being grateful for it. This doesn't mean you ignore the challenges or pretend everything is perfect. It means you see every experience, every difficulty, every failure, every joy as part of the grand journey that shapes you. Friedrich Nietzsche, a philosopher who greatly admired Stoicism, put it this way: "My formula for greatness in a human being is Amor Fati, that one wants nothing to be different, not forward, not backward, not in all eternity." It's about loving life so deeply that you stop fighting against it. Instead of wishing for things to be different, you make peace with how things are and how they unfold. The Stoics taught that the universe doesn't happen to you. It happens for you. Every moment, every situation is a part of your unique path. Why is Amor Fati important? Why is this attitude of loving your fate so powerful? Because it frees you from the constant struggle and frustration that comes from wishing things were different. Think about the times you've struggled. Maybe you've faced failure, disappointment, or loss. The natural instinct is to resist it, to feel angry, upset, or to wish things had gone another way. But in resisting, you only create more suffering. The truth is, you cannot control everything that happens in life. You can't control how others behave, the challenges that come your way, or the obstacles life throws at you. However, you can control your response. When you embrace Amor Fati, you let go of this resistance. You stop fighting against reality and start accepting it. And with that acceptance comes peace, because you no longer feel powerless against your circumstances. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Marcus Aurelius. Instead of viewing challenges as obstacles, you begin to see them as opportunities for growth. Every experience, good or bad, is a chance to learn and become stronger. How to practice Amor Fati in your life. So, how can we put Amor Fati into practice? How do we stop wishing for things to be different and start embracing whatever life gives us? Here are 5 steps to integrate Amor Fati into your daily life. Shift your perspective. The first step in loving your fate is to change how you view challenges. Instead of seeing them as setbacks, start seeing them as opportunities. When something difficult happens, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can this situation help me grow? Every obstacle is an opportunity to develop resilience and strength. By shifting your perspective, you begin to see the value in the tough times, rather than viewing them as simply problems. Ask yourself, how can I use this challenge to become a better version of myself? Practice acceptance. You can't change the past, and you can't always control the future. The key to practicing Amor Fati is to accept the present moment as it is, without resistance or regret. If things aren't going the way you want, don't waste energy wishing things were different. Instead, accept them fully. This doesn't mean you have to like them, but you stop fighting against them. By accepting what is, you free yourself from unnecessary frustration. You stop focusing on what you can't control and start focusing on what you can control. Your response: ask yourself, what can I do today to embrace this moment fully? Be grateful for every experience. Gratitude is one of the most powerful tools for practicing Amor Fati. Every experience, even the difficult ones, is an opportunity to learn and grow. Take a moment every day to reflect on what you're grateful for, including the challenges and failures. What lessons have they taught you? How have they shaped the person you are today? When you start seeing everything in your life as a gift, even the hard moments, you begin to truly embrace the concept of Amor Fati. Ask yourself, what am I grateful for in this moment, even if it's hard? Let go of control. One of the most freeing aspects of Amor Fati is realizing that you don't have to control everything. You don't have to have everything figured out. You don't have to make every plan go exactly as you want. When you let go of this need for control, you create space for peace and acceptance. Instead of fighting to manipulate every outcome, focus on responding to life with wisdom, patience, and courage. Trust that the universe has its own flow, and sometimes the things that don't go your way are leading you to something better. Ask yourself, am I holding on to control in areas of my life where I should let go? Live in harmony with your fate. Amor Fati is about embracing what is. Instead of wishing for a different life or fighting against what's in front of you, start living in harmony with your fate. This doesn't mean giving up on your goals or dreams. It means aligning your actions with the understanding that everything that happens, good or bad, is part of your journey. By accepting your fate with grace, you start to live more freely, more fully. You become more present in your life and stop worrying about the what ifs and could have beens. Amor Fati teaches us that everything in life is part of the larger tapestry of our journey. Instead of resisting, we learn to love whatever life offers us, trusting that it's all leading us to where we need to be. The next time life presents a challenge, remember, what stands in the way becomes the way. Marcus Aurelius. Embrace everything, the good and the bad, as your fate, as your path. Love the journey you're on, and trust that it's all unfolding for your highest good. If this message resonated with you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more timeless wisdom. And let me know in the comments, how will you embrace your fate today? Until next time, remember, life is yours to love, as it is.
Remember, you will die. Marcus Aurelius. It's the one truth we all try to avoid thinking about. The fact that one day we will all die. But what if I told you that this harsh reality could actually be your greatest source of strength? What if embracing the idea of death could help you live a more meaningful, purposeful life? Today, we're diving deep into the Stoic principle of Memento Mori, a reminder that life is short and precious. In a world that constantly distracts us, this principle brings us back to what really matters. If you've ever struggled to focus on what's truly important, this may be the wake-up call you need. Let's dive in. What is Memento Mori? Memento Mori translates to, remember you must die. It's not a morbid or depressing thought, but rather a powerful reminder that life is fleeting. The Stoics weren't obsessed with death, but they understood that acknowledging death was one of the most effective ways to live a life of meaning and focus. Think about it. When you remember that life is temporary, every decision, every moment, and every relationship becomes more valuable. You stop wasting time on trivial things and start focusing on what truly matters. Your growth, your relationships, and your impact on the world. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic emperor, reflected on death daily. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. Memento Mori is a call to live with urgency and intention, knowing that each moment is a gift, not a guarantee. It's about facing the impermanence of life and making the most of it. Why Memento Mori is so powerful? Why does this reminder of death have such power? The Stoics believed that by constantly keeping death in mind, you would be less likely to waste time on petty concerns or trivial pursuits. Think of your day-to-day life. How often do you get caught up in the small, insignificant things? Like a bad comment on social media, a disagreement at work, or a frustration with something you can't control. When you remember that death is inevitable, it brings perspective. Do these small things really matter in the grand scheme of your life? When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love. Marcus Aurelius. By keeping death in mind, you shift your focus from petty worries to what really matters. Love, joy, growth, and meaningful connections. Instead of wasting energy on things that don't serve you, you start living with purpose. You make decisions with the awareness that life is short, and you want to live it fully, without regrets. How to practice Memento Mori. So, how can we integrate Memento Mori into our daily lives without becoming obsessed with death or feeling paralyzed by it? How can we embrace it as a tool for living better rather than fearing it? Here are 5 simple practices to help you embody Memento Mori in a way that brings peace, clarity, and focus. Start your day with reflection. Every morning, take a moment to remind yourself that this day is a gift. You're alive, for now. Before you dive into the noise of daily life, pause. Reflect on the reality that one day, this moment, and all moments, will be gone. How do you want to spend this time? This simple practice shifts your mindset. Instead of rushing into your day without intention, you become mindful of every opportunity you have. Ask yourself, if I knew this day was my last, what would I focus on? Practice gratitude for your life. Instead of taking life for granted, practice gratitude. Be thankful for the life you have right now. Think of the things you might take for granted. Your health, your loved ones, the opportunity to learn and grow. By focusing on these things, you deepen your appreciation for life. Ask yourself, what am I grateful for in my life today? Let go of what you can't control. One of the greatest lessons from Memento Mori is realizing how much of life is out of our control. We cannot control when or how we will die, but we can control how we live. When you truly understand that time is limited, you stop stressing over things you can't control. You stop worrying about the small stuff and focus on what really matters. Ask yourself, am I focusing my energy on things I cannot control? What can I let go of today? Live with urgency and purpose. When death is on your mind, you make better decisions. You stop procrastinating. You stop putting off your dreams, your passions, your relationships. You ask yourself, what do I want to achieve in my life before it ends? Then you act on it. No more waiting. No more excuses. Live with urgency, but in a way that's meaningful and aligned with your values. Ask yourself, what step can I take today toward my purpose? Embrace impermanence. Death is not something to fear, but something to accept as part of life. When you accept that everything, including your life, is temporary, you start to appreciate the fleeting beauty of the present moment. Embrace the impermanence of life. Notice how it changes your perspective. You become more present. You stop waiting for the right time and start living now. Ask yourself, am I fully present in this moment, or am I waiting for something better? Memento Mori is not a call to fear death. It's a call to live more fully. The realization that life is finite makes every moment more precious, every relationship more meaningful, and every opportunity more valuable. As Marcus Aurelius so wisely said, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. Today, I challenge you to reflect on your life and embrace the reality of its impermanence. What changes can you make today to live with more purpose, more urgency, and more love? If this message resonated with you, be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more Stoic wisdom. And drop a comment below. What will you do differently today, knowing that life is fleeting? Until next time, remember, life is short. Make it count.
No man is free who is not master of himself. Epictetus. In a world full of distractions, instant gratification, and constant pursuit of pleasure, we often forget what truly brings meaning and peace. What if I told you that the Stoics believe that virtue, not pleasure, is the key to a good life? Today, we're diving into one of the most profound Stoic principles: virtue over pleasure. If you've ever felt like chasing pleasure leaves you empty, or that you're constantly seeking something more, then stick around. This might just change your perspective. What does virtue over pleasure mean? When we think about pleasure, we usually imagine comfort, luxury, or indulgence. But Stoic virtue is about something deeper, something lasting. For the Stoics, virtue is not just about doing what is right. It's about living in accordance with nature, with wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. Qualities that help us become the best version of ourselves. On the other hand, pleasure is fleeting. It's the sugar rush. It feels good in the moment, but once it fades, we're left feeling empty, needing more. Think of it like this. Pleasure is like a bubble. It appears beautiful and shiny, but it pops quickly, leaving you with nothing. Virtue, however, is like a tree. It's rooted. It grows over time, and even when storms come, it stands strong. The more we value things outside our control, the less control we have. Epictetus. This is why the Stoics emphasize virtue over pleasure. It's not that pleasure is bad, it's just that virtue lasts while pleasure is temporary. Why choose virtue over pleasure? Here's a simple truth. Pleasure cannot bring lasting happiness. Take a moment and think about a time when you indulged in something you thought would make you happy. A new purchase, a great meal, a night out with friends. In the moment, it felt wonderful, right? But what happened after? The pleasure faded, and the happiness left with it. Suddenly, you're back to chasing the next fix. The Stoics teach that true happiness comes from living a life rooted in virtue. A life that is whole, consistent, and meaningful. Seneca put it this way: it is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more. That is poor. Virtue, on the other hand, doesn't fade. It grows within you. It's like planting seeds in your soul. The more you nurture them, the stronger and more fulfilling they become. When you choose virtue over pleasure, you're choosing peace over the fleeting highs of instant gratification. You're choosing purpose over emptiness. How to practice virtue over pleasure. So, how do we live this principle out in our everyday lives? How do we shift our focus from temporary pleasures to lasting virtue? Here are 5 Stoic practices to help you embrace virtue over pleasure. Prioritize long-term goals over short-term satisfaction. When faced with a decision, ask yourself, which option leads to my greater good in the long run? Pleasure often tempts us in the moment, but virtue guides us toward what will serve us better over time. Think about how you spend your money, your time, and your energy. Is it spent on things that bring lasting value? Or do you choose what feels good right now? If you choose a quick treat over hard work or discipline, the pleasure will pass, but the effort you invested will carry on. Ask yourself, am I choosing what feels good now or what helps me grow in the future? Practice temperance. Temperance means moderation, knowing when to say enough and avoiding overindulgence. Pleasure becomes harmful when we overdo it. Eating that extra piece of cake, scrolling through social media endlessly, or buying things we don't need. All these are examples of letting pleasure take the lead. The Stoics suggest that true freedom comes from restraint. When you practice temperance, you gain control over your impulses, and you start living according to your values, not your immediate desires. Ask yourself, is this choice bringing me closer to my true self or just momentary pleasure? Focus on internal fulfillment. It's easy to get caught up in external success, the promotions, the recognition, the material possessions. But these are just external markers of happiness. True fulfillment, according to the Stoics, comes from within. Virtue, wisdom, and peace don't need to be earned externally. They come from the work you do on your inner world. When you're focused on your inner growth, external achievements become secondary. You no longer depend on the world to make you happy because you've already found contentment in who you are. Ask yourself, am I seeking approval from others, or am I content with my own progress? Live according to your nature. Stoicism teaches that to live a good life, we must live according to nature, meaning we must align our actions with reason and virtue. If you're living according to your nature, your choices will align with your higher purpose. You'll naturally prefer the good, the right, and the noble over the easy or indulgent. This is a powerful shift. Instead of following the current of society, you start paddling in the direction of authentic self-growth. Ask yourself, am I living in alignment with my best self or just going with the flow? Cultivate wisdom and self-reflection. Virtue is a path of constant growth. It requires daily practice, and that means self-reflection. Each day, take a moment to look back and ask, did I act in a way that reflects my best self today? By reflecting on your actions and choices, you learn where you've strayed from virtue and where you've embraced it. Over time, this helps you grow into a person who doesn't crave fleeting pleasures but seeks lasting happiness through a virtuous life. Virtue is the true source of happiness, not the quick rush of pleasure. When you choose virtue, you choose a life of depth, purpose, and lasting contentment. As the Stoics remind us, the pleasures of the world are like fleeting shadows. They come and go, but the pursuit of virtue is like the light of the sun, always present, always growing. So, I challenge you today. Choose virtue over pleasure. Choose the path that leads to your true self, not the one that offers momentary distractions. If you found this helpful, be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more Stoic wisdom. And drop a comment below. What's one virtue you want to cultivate more in your life? Until next time, stay grounded, stay true to yourself, and always remember, no man is free who is not master of himself.
The wise man prepares for trouble before it arrives. Seneca. Life is unpredictable. One moment, everything feels in control, and the next, you're swept into chaos. But what if I told you that you can prepare for it? Mentally, emotionally, and even spiritually. This is the power of Premeditatio Malorum, the Stoic practice of premeditating on evils. It sounds dark, but it's one of the most freeing ideas you'll ever hear. Today we'll explore how to apply this principle in your daily life, so that no setback, disappointment, or loss ever catches you off guard again. Stay with me. What is Premeditatio Malorum? Imagine you're about to go on a road trip. Before you start the engine, you check the tires, the fuel, and the weather forecast. Why? Because if a storm hits, you don't want to be stranded. That's Premeditatio Malorum in action. It's mental preparation for life's inevitable challenges. The Stoics believed that, instead of hoping for a smooth journey, you should prepare for rain, delays, and flat tires. That way, when they happen, and they will happen, you stay calm. Rehearse them in your mind. Exile, torture, war, shipwreck. All the terms of our human lot should be before our eyes. Seneca. This might sound grim, but it's not about being negative. It's about being ready. It's not about living in fear. It's about living with clarity. Here's the truth. Bad days are guaranteed. Loss, failure, and rejection are all part of the human experience. But when you visualize them beforehand, you're less likely to be overwhelmed when they come. Why is Premeditatio Malorum so powerful? Think of it like this. What scares you more? The monster you can't see, or the one you know is coming? When you don't prepare for setbacks, every little problem feels like a crisis. But when you've rehearsed the possibilities in your mind, you respond, not react. Seneca reminds us, the man who has anticipated the coming of troubles takes away their power when they arrive. When you visualize worst-case scenarios, they lose their bite. You've already seen them in your mind. You're not blindsided. Think about the moments in life that hurt you the most.
Were they unexpected? A sudden job loss, a breakup, an illness? These moments feel like earthquakes because you didn't see them coming. But what if you had prepared for them mentally? The goal isn't to live in constant fear. It's to be mentally fortified. When others panic, you'll stay steady. While others spiral, you'll be calm. How to practice Premeditatio Malorum. How can you use Premeditatio Malorum to prepare for life's challenges without turning into a pessimist? Here are 5 simple practices you can start using today. Visualize the worst-case scenario. Every morning or before a big event, ask yourself, what could go wrong today? Sounds strange, right? But here's why it works. By visualizing potential problems, like being stuck in traffic, spilling coffee on your shirt, or your project being rejected, you're emotionally prepared for them. Instead of being shocked, you'll say, I knew this might happen. And that single shift in mindset can make all the difference. Ask yourself, what's the absolute worst that could happen today, and how would I handle it? Plan your response in advance. Once you visualize the worst-case scenario, don't stop there. Ask yourself, if this happens, how will I respond? If your boss rejects your proposal, what will you do? If a friend lets you down, how will you react? By planning your response, you avoid emotional outbursts. You'll act with clarity, not chaos. Ask yourself, if the worst happens, how will I maintain my calm? Use a Stoic journal. Before bed, reflect on your day. What went wrong today? How could I have prepared better? Then, imagine similar situations tomorrow. The point isn't to obsess over bad things, but to prepare. The Stoics believed that daily reflection was like sharpening a sword. It made you ready for battle. Practice gratitude for what you have. Here's a twist. After you visualize what could go wrong, look at your life as if you'd already lost everything. Imagine waking up tomorrow with no job, no home, and no loved ones. How would you feel if you suddenly got it all back? Grateful, right? This is the reverse version of Premeditatio Malorum. By imagining life without your comforts, you learn to treasure them even more. Ask yourself, if I lost everything tomorrow, what would I be most grateful to have back today? Accept what you can't control. Marcus Aurelius put it best. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. You can't control what happens, only how you respond. You can't control the weather, but you can bring an umbrella. You can't control your partner's mood, but you can control how you support them. The world doesn't owe you fairness or comfort. Accept this, and you'll suffer less. Ask yourself, am I focused on what I can control, or am I trying to control the uncontrollable? Here's the truth, the Stoics understood well. Discomfort is not your enemy, it's your teacher. When you practice Premeditatio Malorum, you're not just preparing for hardships. You're training your mind to be comfortable with discomfort. Think about it. Modern life often revolves around avoiding pain. We chase comfort, convenience, and control. But the Stoics knew that true growth comes from leaning into discomfort. By mentally exposing yourself to challenges before they happen, you build resilience. Here's a powerful shift in perspective. Instead of asking, how do I avoid this problem? The Stoic asks, how can I grow from it? This mental shift turns fear into courage. It transforms anxiety into preparation. If you've already rehearsed a setback in your mind, the real thing feels smaller. It's like a sparring match before the actual fight. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. Seneca, how many times have you felt anxious about something that never even happened? Premeditatio Malorum shuts down that loop of fear. You face it head-on, you see it clearly, and suddenly, it's not so scary. How to embrace discomfort daily. Seek small discomforts intentionally. Take cold showers, delay a craving, or face a difficult conversation. By doing small, hard things daily, you build tolerance for bigger challenges. Shift your language. Stop labeling experiences as bad or unfair. Instead, ask, what is this teaching me? Every obstacle is an opportunity to build patience, strength, or wisdom. Use negative visualization. Each morning, visualize a setback that might happen today. A delay, a rejection, or a mistake. Imagine how you'd handle it calmly and with grace. Then, when it happens, you'll feel like you've already been there. When you embrace discomfort as a part of life, not as a punishment, but as a path to growth, you become unstoppable. You see obstacles as fuel for your growth, not reasons to quit. This is the heart of Premeditatio Malorum. It's not about paranoia. It's about preparedness and power. Here's the truth that no one likes to admit. Bad days are coming. You'll face loss, rejection, and failure. But that's okay. Because with Premeditatio Malorum, you'll never be caught off guard. You'll be prepared. You'll be calm. And while others crumble, you'll remain strong. Remember this. The man who has anticipated the coming of troubles takes away their power when they arrive. Seneca. So, here's my challenge for you. Today, visualize something that could go wrong. Don't just fear it, face it. Imagine how you'll respond, how you'll stay calm, and how you'll come out stronger. If this message spoke to you, like, share, and subscribe for more Stoic wisdom. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What challenge can you prepare for today? Until next time, stay steady, stay strong. And as the Stoics would say, Amor Fati, love your fate, no matter what it brings.
You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius. Emotions. They're intense, unpredictable, and sometimes overwhelming. But what if I told you that you have more control over them than you think? Today, we're diving into one of the most life-changing Stoic principles. Control your emotions. If you've ever felt like anger, anxiety, or frustration ruled you, this message is for you. So, grab a quiet moment for yourself, and let's walk through it together. What does control your emotions mean? Controlling your emotions doesn't mean suppressing them or pretending you don't feel them. That's not Stoicism. Stoicism teaches that you should understand, observe, and master your emotions. You see, emotions aren't the problem. The problem is when we let them control us. Imagine you're sailing a boat. The wind, your emotions can blow in any direction. But the Stoic mindset reminds you that you are the captain. You can adjust your sails. You may not control the wind, but you always control the ship. Here's how Marcus Aurelius put it. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. The problem is not what happens to you. The problem is how you respond to it. Why is emotional control important? Here's a question. Have you ever said something in anger that you later regretted? We've all been there. Emotions, like anger, fear, and anxiety, are temporary visitors. But when we give them the keys to our mind, they cause damage that lasts far longer. This is why emotional control is a superpower. When you master it, you don't just control yourself. You control how your day, your relationships, and even your future unfold. When you're calm in the face of chaos, you stand out. People listen to the calm person in the room. They respect the one who doesn't react impulsively. Here's another Stoic reminder. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. Seneca. Our mind tends to blow things out of proportion. That fight with a friend? It feels like the end of the world, but it's not. The stressful deadline? You'll get through it, just like you always do. When you stop letting your emotions run wild, you see things clearly, and from clarity comes peace. How to control your emotions like a Stoic. How can you control your emotions when everything feels out of control? Here are 5 Stoic practices you can start using today. Name the emotion. When you feel anger, frustration, or fear, name it. Say, "This is anger," or "This is fear." Why? Because the moment you name it, you separate yourself from the feeling. Instead of saying, "I'm angry," say, "There is anger present." It sounds small, but it makes a huge difference. You're not the anger. You're the observer of the anger. Ask yourself, what is this emotion trying to teach me right now? Pause before you react. You've heard it before. Take a deep breath. But here's the Stoic twist. Count to 3, 5, or even 10 before responding. Why? Because most emotional reactions last only a few seconds. When you pause, the emotional wave passes. Then you can respond with logic, not impulse. Ask yourself, if I act on this feeling right now, will I regret it tomorrow? Focus on what you control. Here's a classic Stoic idea. There are only two things you control: your thoughts and your actions. If you're stuck in traffic, you can't control the cars, but you can control your frustration. If someone insults you, you can't control their words, but you can control how you respond. This shift in perspective is like flipping a switch. You realize most of your worries are outside your control. So why worry? Focus on what you can do instead. Ask yourself, is this within my control, or is it outside my control? Practice negative visualization. This one is powerful. Before a big event, a meeting, a date, or an exam, ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen? This might sound pessimistic, but it's actually empowering. By imagining the worst, you prepare yourself. And guess what? Most of the time, the worst thing never happens. So, when things go better than expected, you feel relief, not fear. Ask yourself, if the worst happens, how will I handle it? Use Stoic affirmations. Every day, remind yourself of these Stoic truths. I control my mind, not the world. No one can make me angry without my permission. Every emotion is temporary. These affirmations are like mental armor. They prepare you for whatever life throws your way. Here's a scene you've probably lived through. Someone cuts you off in traffic, says something rude, or triggers you in some way. Your heart races, your jaw tightens, and before you know it, you've reacted. But what if you didn't? This is where the Stoic principle of controlling your emotions shines. It's not about suppressing how you feel. It's about mastering the pause. Epictetus reminds us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. That tiny moment between something happening and your reaction, that's where all your power lies. Most people react automatically, like a reflex. But a Stoic responds intentionally. It's not about being cold or emotionless. It's about being conscious and deliberate. How to master the pause. Notice the trigger. Start by identifying situations where you tend to lose control. Is it criticism? Rudeness? Delays? Once you recognize your triggers, you can start to see them coming. Use the 3-second rule. Before reacting, pause for just 3 seconds. Count them in your head. 1, 2, 3. It sounds simple, but in that short moment, you give your rational mind a chance to catch up. It's often enough time to shift from reaction to response. Ask Stoic questions. Before reacting, ask, is this under my control? Will this matter tomorrow? Am I acting out of virtue or ego? These questions stop impulsive reactions and guide you toward calm, intentional action. When you master the pause, you reclaim your power. People will test you, life will challenge you, but you will no longer be their puppet. Instead of being pulled by every trigger, you'll be the one holding the strings. As Marcus Aurelius put it, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. It's not the situation that controls you, it's your reaction to it. And with the pause, you can choose your response every single time. Emotions are not your enemy. They're like waves in the ocean. They rise, they fall, but you remain the steady shore. When you practice these Stoic principles, you become the calm in the storm. You're no longer a puppet to your emotions. You become the master of your mind. Here's a parting thought from Epictetus. It is not events that disturb us, but our thoughts about them. The next time anger, fear, or stress show up, don't push them away. Observe them, name them, and control them. If you found this helpful, like, share, and subscribe for more Stoic wisdom. Drop a comment below. Which emotion are you working to master? And remember, you have power over your mind. Use it wisely.
6 timeless Stoic principles to help you live with strength, clarity, and peace. These ideas aren't just ancient philosophy, they're a guide for modern life. Stay grounded, embrace the challenges ahead, and remember, it's not about avoiding the storm, it's about learning how to sail through it. If these spoke to you, why not take them with you? Let them shape how you face today's challenges. Subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to like and share this video if it resonated with you. Remember, it's not the world that must change, it's us. Stay grounded, stay present, and we'll see you in the next one.